On this episode of 585 Garage, we do a year-end recap and we also answer your questions. And you can watch that now. Some unfortunate events had actually taken place, and all of my camera gear that I use to record the show and edit the show, and all of my B-roll episodes got stolen out of my car. So this is kind of an impromptu episode. Plus, it kind of allows us to look back at the last year and really kind of relive some of the best memories that we've had on the channel. So we're turning negative into a positive, and we're also going to answer some of the questions that you guys have left for us on social media. So I guess we're just going to dive right in. Yeah. What's number one?
Question number one. How did 585 Garage start?
Well, do you want to take point? Or?
Sure. I think it started without the intention to start it. Would you think that's fair? We never really set out and said, this is going to be what it is. And I don't think we even foresaw anything as big as it's been.
Yeah, I slightly disagree. Yeah, I slightly disagree with that, though, because how it really started was our friendship, which was, we're going to maybe get into a little bit later, but the long story short is I sold him a car that he has yet to work on, and that was almost 4 years ago now.
I think it has been.
It's been a long time. It's before you moved to Vegas. But so, extending on that, Carter moved back from Vegas where he lived for a couple of years, and him and I had talked about doing a YouTube channel for a couple months, and it was like, we kept talking about, well, maybe we do this, or maybe we do this, or, we'll do this other thing, and it just got to a point where, like, you came over, it was actually all three of us.
Stumbled into that because I didn't plan for that voltage regulator to fail on the car.
Right.
And then we just dove into it. Let's shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start. Let's do it.
We also started using YouTube as free storage. So
yeah.
We were filming, just hanging out, and we were doing free storage, and then we started getting followers. So now we're like, let's make it an actual thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how that started too. Because I remember getting the phone call, and he's like, I ran out of storage on my computer. And I was like, put it on YouTube. That's how it happened. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was an accident on purpose.
Right.
So at that point when
goodness.
When his car broke down, I just picked up the camera and said, tell me what happened. And, I think scene 1, episode 1, is legit an accident. We didn't think it was going to happen. And then you guys watched it and loved it and subscribed. And we said, oh, hey, let's, do a second one and then a third. And then it snowballed into, we're filming episode 16 right now. Which is crazy. It's been 16 months.
16 months. Yeah.
And to think, if only every episode took only as much planning as episode 1.
Right.
That'd be really convenient.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
But that won't always happen.
Right.
You ready for question 2? It spins off of this. So the roles that we play.
Well, I say first and foremost, you guys haven't formally met Cody. This is Cody. He's our cameraman. He helps us an awful lot on shooting, being chased vehicle. Pretty much anytime you see a vehicle or see us filming vehicle to vehicle, he's either driving that vehicle or he's hanging out of the window of that vehicle trying to get the shot. Or
other dangerous positions.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. As cryptic as that sounds a little later.
Sorry, Mom.
But, Cody's been a huge help to us, so I would definitely say that that's his role with the channel is being main cameraman. I'll also talk about another person that's not here is Matt Kumrowski.
Yeah.
He helps us out a lot as an extra hand with the mechanical side of things, because the three of us are not professional mechanics, but he is. And so he really helps us out a lot. Actually, I should say there's also two other people. Joe Regatuso,
Yeah.
he has helped us out a lot. We've been down at his shop shooting episodes. He's given us a hand I don't know how many times.
Being able to use his lift.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, that was huge.
And also my friend Adam Oldfield, who's operated the drone for us on a couple of occasions that have really, I think, proved to be able to add that extra little bit of quality to the episodes.
And not only that, the girls.
Yeah, that's true.
Huge support from them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, so
They allow us to, at the drop of a hat, go out and pick up all our cameras. And
They tolerate our true undiagnosed insanity
yeah,
through and through.
yeah,
and for that we say thank you.
yeah.
Very much.
We love you. Yep.
So with that being said, you know, I think beyond that, you're just an excellent personality and excellent.
I try to just be myself for the show, but I think the biggest thing that I add is so many of the episodes, well, at least numerous episodes, have started with me calling Joe and going, hey, what are you doing next weekend? I want to go drive 30-something hours. And he goes, oh, that sounds like a great idea. What are we doing? And then the thrash really, that's never seen on camera, is all the preparation to actually like even make any idea possible a lot of the times. But
There's usually 2 days of planning for any episode.
Oh, yeah.
Easy,
Or more.
Or more.
the numerous phone calls, checking with tracks or different things, looking up scheduling, just a nuts amount of stuff. And my spontaneity really, I think, is the biggest thing that I pitch into the show for the most part of like why.
It is very hard keeping you two on track.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. I feel like I gotta crack the whip. Like
You are great within that role, I think, and you keep us on task very well.
Not that I want to talk about myself too much, but I think the main thing that I bring to the show is I'm the one that edits the program.
Yeah.
So, you know, being able to stitch all of it together and try my best to make a continuous program that makes sense, even though I feel like maybe sometimes it doesn't end up working like that. And that's one thing that Cody's really helped with, is being that extra guy where I can say, hey, I think this would be a good camera angle or a good part of the story. Stand over there and get the camera on us and, you know, see what happens. And a lot of times it works out, and, you know, I think that just shows how well Cody and I mean all of us, including, you know, the individuals that aren't here, really can work together and bring all this together. So I think that's definitely kind of what we all bring to the table.
Question number 3. Favorite episodes?
Probably going to the track, I want to say.
Which time?
I want to say Empire, because that was really the first time that we were able to accomplish both of us getting both of our vehicles to the track, and going up, and for the most part, really didn't have like too many issues of any kind. It was a lot of fun. I know for me, it was a lot more thrashing than you, because I actually did a bunch of stuff to the truck in that week. It was like Thursday at something that I don't think actually even made on camera for that episode was the fact that, and not by far any of my favorite, but I actually had the slicks for that Friday evening mounted on the way to the track. Like they showed up, I overnighted them and had them show up. That was like, it was a fun rush. Like that episode in general was really a blast, and it was a really good time shooting it. Plus, I come from, I've done racing for quite a while, so like I love any time we can go to the track. So.
I think for me, my favorite episode was when we took Hiccup down to Florida, well, Georgia, then Florida, and took him to the track. I think that was really cool, just because of the timeline that we did it in, the serious lack of sleep that we had to do it, and to make it all happen. I mean, for like 3 days we didn't sleep, it felt like. I mean, maybe if we got a couple hours each night, that was a lot.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the mad scramble there and back. You know, it was, 18 hours there. And we did this like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We drove from Rochester to Valdosta, Georgia, which was 18 hours.
Yep.
Screwed around there for, I don't know how long, 2 days, I think. Trying to get, you know, some things done on the truck. And then it was another 4 or 5 hours to the track in Florida. We ran there all day. Left there at 1 o'clock in the morning, drove, what was it, 3 or 4 hours?
Yeah.
We drove 3 or 4 hours back to where we were staying in Georgia, and then from there we got back at like 4, I think 4:30.
I think we pretty much had to pack our stuff because in order to make it home in time, we had to leave by like 7 or 8 a.m.
Right, and so we only got a couple hours of sleep, and then drove another 18 hours home in 4 days. So it was one of my favorites because it was a scramble the whole episode, and it went by, and it was just I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna say Letchworth.
Yeah.
We went to Letchworth, and mainly because it was so low stress
Yeah.
that it was easy.
Very
We
relaxing.
just
kind of thing.
just go, hang out,
Mm-hmm.
turn the camera on, and go.
Yep.
And we got some beautiful shots. The day was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you can go to Letchworth anyway, though.
Right. So I'm gonna
It's
say
awesome.
for me that was my favorite episode because there wasn't a whole lot of. For me, for me, I kind of could just set it. And,
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Letchworth for me. So next question. Favorite burnout.
Well, thankfully, I have a vehicle equipped with the cheapest truck tires that you can buy. But my favorite burnout actually wasn't on new tires. It was on when the very first moment that we got hiccup to a true running state. And at the time, it had open diff, and you do a burnout with it, had an insane amount of wheel speed because it had like a 2-something gear in the rear end. And I never do this, but for the fact of time, for the fact of it wasn't quite fully on the road yet, we did one right in front of my house. It was the episode where we actually put the big block in and get it all done, and the one tire fire was just, and it was the first time that I really got to feel like what it was to lay into the truck with what it's set up with. Right. And I remember coming back and I look at Joe and I'm like, dude, I barely just had to like just touch the pedal and it was ready. And that was just a blast. And plus after the fact, I went inside and I got scolded by my mother and also kind of scolded by my father, but then he kind of gave me the wink. And that was really really comical for me. So that's probably my favorite this year.
I would have to say that my favorite burnout was when you and I did the burnouts side by side.
Oh, that was so cool.
Which actually, we did 2 of them. The first one was at the beginning of that episode, after we said this time on 585 Garage, and then we did the first dual burnout, and then the second one, which I guess was really more for distance. The thing that was most difficult for me about that was his truck is so loud that I didn't know, like I really couldn't even hear that my car was running. So I just like threw it down into first gear, and all I could do was feel the car skipping on the rev limiter in first gear, and that's how I did the whole first burnout.
Yeah.
But I think that was my favorite, just because it took a fair amount of planning once we found the right place to do it, to make sure that it was going to be safe enough. Believe it or not, we actually do try and do as much of this stuff as safe as possible. And so I think that was my favorite, just because of the way it turned out, using the drone.
Overcoming the crown of the road, trying to make us like...
Yeah, because I almost drove my car, like you guys can see, my car was right on the edge of the road. And
I'm looking at him, he's looking at me, and we're like, you gonna stay in it? Yeah, let's get it. I mean, here we go.
It was just a really challenging thing to get on camera and just to do in general. And I think that's what it is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite burnout is when you sent it at Joe's shop.
Oh yeah.
Sizzling bacon.
The sizzling. I mean, it was just tire smoke, and I had the camera right up to it, and I was just breathing it in, and it was great. And then you pulled away, and the road was just.
It was literally sizzling like hot bacon.
I was like, that was awesome. So. That one's mine, hands
Plus
down.
all the rubber dust.
Yep.
It was, you literally left your tire, like a quarter or half of your tire on the road, powderized.
Yep. So for me, that one for sure. And getting your Chevelle to go.
That was so sketch. So dumb.
That day in general was great.
Okay, that part wasn't safe.
Well, I guess if all your buddies, team up and hold your car still and kind of just do all the work for you, yeah, you can do a burnout with one brake, but I don't advise it. So.
Next question. Favorite road trip? And for me, Niagara Falls. That was awesome.
It was beautiful.
It was gorgeous. Another great day.
Behind schedule, per usual, but
Behind schedule.
worth it.
Worth it. And we got everybody there. It was a great gathering. We had a good time.
It's really the only time that we were able to get that many vehicles in sync.
Yep.
And for all things considered, we actually did a pretty good job, I think, of staying on schedule as well as we
Yeah.
could. Because that's a lot.
There was a lot of moving parts to that like
Everything from needing gas to having to take a bathroom break or anything like that. And it was...
Ricky's exhaust 3 times.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank God for bungee cords.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I think my favorite trip was actually when we did the burnouts for 4th of July. Mainly because that was, it was only like, 3 hours up to the islands. But for me, having the car literally catch fire that morning and fix it on the side of the road, I still drove to work. And then from there, I drove back to my house to Henrietta and then up to the islands. The same day that, I'd almost lost the car to an electrical fire, I think that was, for me, really challenging. And because of that, it was my favorite. But every second, that whole episode, like if I got behind a truck and I started to smell the diesel from the truck, I thought like my car was starting to catch fire again. And so for me, it was like stressful, but like worth it. Because I was able to overcome it, and now I'm comfortable driving the car anywhere and doing, anything with it, because I fixed, I think, that biggest issue, which was my own fault, but whatever.
My favorite road trip, I gotta go with going to get Hiccup, because that was really one of our first big road trips.
That was the first.
It was the first, and it was really cool in the sense of all the things, even though it was only a four-day trip, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was a single weekend, and we did it in a long weekend trip. But the amount of stuff that we saw from the arts district of Memphis and the ribs and the just taking in so much was really, really cool. And loading Hiccup with a tractor, and a lot of people don't know this was loaded with a tractor when I brought it home. So that's like a trend for me. I don't know why, because I don't ever seek to do that, but it just happens that way. Always people have tractors for some reason. But it was just a really fun trip. I think we had such a great time, apart from the embarrassment of flying by those Corvettes. And then having the airbags go out on the ramp, so we were like on the bump stops the whole 1,400 miles left of the trip. Little did we know, it was literally just the Schrader valve was stuck. And we like couldn't figure out how it was leaking, and it kept going down. I'm like, oh, it can't be blown because they hold air for a little bit. And it was just a great trip.
So this next question is a two-parter. Why do we enjoy doing the channel so much? And the favorite thing about this hobby. And for me, why do I enjoy doing it so much is because at least once or twice a month, it forces us to get together.
Yeah.
It forces us, because without the channel, there's been times where I definitely wouldn't have seen you guys
Right.
for a month or two.
Right.
Just because of life and work and whatever.
Yeah, things get busy for sure.
So that's,
And it always brings us back together, which is
yeah.
awesome.
So for me, it forces us to have an excuse and take one day a month, minimum.
And just hang out.
Just hang out.
Yeah.
And so that's mine for that first part.
What about you?
I think the real reason why I do the channel is because I have a shit memory. I cannot remember anything. Seriously, how often have you guys asked me a question? I'm like, I know the answer, but I can't get it right now. And so for me, having a terrible memory, the channel helps me be able to like look back and go, oh yeah, we did do that.
Yeah.
This did happen. We did this crazy thing, and not only do we get to like sit down and relive it, but like, we also get to share it with people. But like, I guess for me, it's just I can look at, the things that I've done and enjoy it with other people.
Yeah. What were both questions again? I'm gonna do one and then lead right into the other.
The first one, why do we enjoy doing the channel so much? And the second one is the favorite thing about this hobby.
Okay. I enjoy doing the channel because, number one, exactly the same thing as you said, but to springboard off of that, I think it additionally goes into the amount of people and places that we almost not necessarily are forced to meet, but are given the opportunity based off of what we tend to do, that we have made so many acquaintances and people that, widespread across the whole Eastern Seaboard in general. But in general, of the hobby in itself, I think anybody really can get that kind of takeaway, same as like what we get from the YouTube thing, just doing this hobby in general. Yeah. Really, it's like, I did junior dragsters when I was young, and one of the greatest things about that is that you go to a racetrack, a drag strip, or in general, a lot of racetracks, and it's always, the people at the track are like family. And each track is like its own track family. You go to divisional events and stuff, and it's like you're a big team, and it's the amount that people are willing to do for other fellow hot rodders. It's very rare to find someone that's just downright cold in this industry. Otherwise, they're not going to go very far, because you do need help from all of your peers and different friends and stuff. And I think. Lastly, I'm a speed freak, so that's my personal fix. Is I like to go fast.
Just look at our group of our skills: electrical, welding. You can envision a car better than anybody can.
Right.
So, hey, what do you think about this? You need to do this before you do this. Before you do this.
Exactly.
Right. You, Carter, I need something welded again.
Yeah.
And then
when you're calling me, hey, what jet size?
So that's a good one.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think the main reason I like the hobby, and I think the second one I'm going to leave to you, because I think overall, actually you touched on it. It's the people. It really is. But I think for me, it's the noise. I love the noise, whether it's, a 6-cylinder Cummins, honestly, I really don't care what the engine is. If it's, a Honda, even if it's a built Honda, little four-banger, and but like,
no, you can.
You can appreciate.
Yeah,
it.
you can appreciate, even though it's not like maybe a car I would hop in and drive, but like I can appreciate the work that went into it, and just like the way that it sounds, it's aggressive. It's that to me, an aggressive motor gives me the goosebumps, no matter what. Turbo 4-cylinder from a Honda, a Cummins. like a Cummins inline 6 or like the 230 that's in your car once it gets all beefed up. A rowdy big block, a rowdy small block. All the way up to you get into your V12 Lamborghinis and Ferraris and things like that. I love the sound, I love the noise, and even just hearing it is kind of an adrenaline rush all on its own.
Almost anything that's able to do so, I think, sounds good at 10,000 RPM.
Yeah. Sure, even bikes.
Yeah.
I love the sound of bikes because you hear them, at night ripping up and down the expressway, and it's just like, oh, that guy's ballsy.
Plus, somebody's having fun.
Yeah. Right, someone's looking down at their tach going, oh, look, 16,000 RPM, next gear, bam.
Yeah.
So that's, I just love the sound and the noise of it.
For me, the hobby, it's a combination of the adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys know, I rode dirt bikes my whole life, so now I'm shifting into the cars, and so it's the adrenaline rush. But not only that, I like a good challenge.
Yeah.
So when I come across something I can't fix it, it pisses me off, and I have learned so much in this last year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been, that it's incredible. I mean,
What's next?
we've got some subscriber questions actually from Facebook and Instagram.
Oh,
Excellent.
Ooh, that's cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's up?
So Joe Regatuso from Facebook, he wants a Vega update.
Well, as you can see,
That's right there.
we're sitting here next to it, and it's not done.
Though, even as it sits, it looks so glorious.
It does.
I love this car. I'm so excited to actually start tearing into it. I'm ready.
We've got a couple plans. Unfortunately, it's kind of a money thing, but it's also a time thing. We try and dedicate a month to like each person's vehicles.
And kind of go around.
And so with that being said, in a upcoming episode, I don't know which one or when, but it'll be in the relative near future. We're gonna go through the Caprice and really make sure that it's roadworthy. I think after that, at some point, we'll do a little bit on this. I don't know how much you guys remember from episode 5 that it was in, but the car needs everything. It needs quarter panels, an engine, a transmission, a legitimate rear axle. It needs front end. It's gonna get a whole like tubular front end kind of put in it. It's gonna be pretty extensive when it goes. In fact, from the day that we actually start it to the day that we finish it, it's probably gonna be a couple years. So it's not anything that's gonna happen overnight, but
progress report videos probably will ensue.
yeah, absolutely. Or we'll do it for an episode 1 month where we actually do make some headway on it here and there.
Yeah.
Just kind of as we go. So yeah, that's Vega update.
So, Simon Rutherford 99 on Instagram asked us if we have any other projects we're working on that we don't know, or that the
What little you all truly know, I think it sums it up a little bit. There's always something new.
Yeah.
And there's always something that you guys likely don't know about, because like we've said, every episode, once you get into doing this, takes so much planning, so much advanced prep work and everything. I got cars that you guys have never even known I had and stuff like that.
Same.
And Joe too, that you've never seen. And
You guys just met me.
we all know that he does it the right way and only has one, puts all the eggs in one basket, so it actually goes fast. But specifically ones for the future. I have one in particular that Joe touched on earlier of how we actually met. That's a car that we haven't introduced you guys yet, but I have very big plans to make that really stupid, idiotically fast with. And but part of why you haven't ever seen it is because when I do it, I want to do it once and do it right. Kind of like how you guys are going to do the Vega. So it's definitely also going to be like the Vega, a time-consuming project that could probably take
Years.
So.
What about you? You got anything else lined up?
I guess other than this, you guys have seen my Trans Am. It could use a little bit of work. Maybe in an upcoming. It needs a water pump bad. It literally sounds like someone's grinding underneath the hood of the car, but hey, it doesn't leak or run hot. But that needs some work. There's a couple cars that you guys haven't seen that I've mentioned kind of here and there, and really they don't need that much work. It'd be something where we get them out of storage, clean them up a little bit, do a couple things that they need, and then honestly, they're road trip cars.
Yeah.
Something we take, one of them, and this is giving it away, and it's not actually my car, it's my father's car. But we would take it to Bowling Green, and you guys could do, the rest of the research from there as to maybe what type of car it is. And I have another one that I would like to take up to top of a mountain somewhere at some point. But beyond that, I really don't have anything.
Kill a dragon or something.
If I did it with anything, it'd probably be the Trans Am.
Yeah.
Because out of any of the, other than my daily driver, that's what I would say probably handles the best.
I would take the Chevelle, so that I then say that A, I've done it, and B, I'm never doing it again. I hear it's a very respectable thing for sure. So, next one.
Next one. Simon actually asked another question, and he says, what does 585 stand for?
So the 585 part comes from just the area code where I'm from. You see it a lot, it's actually really starting to pop up a lot of places. But I thought it was just kind of cool to do it. I thought it sounded nice. And it kind of gives a nod back to, wherever we go in the country, it's kind of our nod back to home.
It's just a way to rep our hometown. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And so that's where it started from. So.
Chris Zagrossi asked, where's the Mopars?
Well, so that's kind of an easy question. It's all the old guys that held on to them for 45 years and then now all think they're worth $1 million, have raised the prices on them, so us regular young guys can't afford them, so we play with Chevys.
Well,
but
We can't afford to play with the classic ones. I mean, the newer ones, you
might
could get a
hot rod the
V6 in
Ram.
anything.
Maybe.
But-
I might hot rod the Ram sometime.
But for the most part, in terms of playing with the classic Mopars, they're just kind of priced out of our price point at this point. So.
Plus, when we need to get a part for a small black Chevy, I mean, you could probably walk in any direction and go find one. So that's kind of the.
Availability of parts is a big
Reason.
deal, yeah.
And we're just little poor boys. We do what we can. Not that Mopars aren't cool.
No, they're really cool.
It's badass, man. I think to end on a high note, I think you had something primed up for them.
We're actually starting a spin-off of 585 Garage because we all have daily drivers that we think are good looking. And one thing that we are kind of always interested in is these music videos you see, music edits and stuff like that of just vehicles in general. And so that's one thing that we're actually going to start doing for you guys to bring you more content every month. We are starting a new sub-series called 585 Cinema. And what it is it's either our daily drivers or any of our hoopies. It's like a 3 to 5 minute video just about that vehicle, whether it's going to be a music edit or maybe it'll be a walk around to that vehicle, things like that. It's something that we want to do to bring you guys a little bit more content, as well as Cody and I once a month will also be bringing to you kind of a podcast, something kind of similar to this. But probably a little bit shorter. Or we're just going to sit down and kind of talk about news in the automotive world, things that we see going on, trends, stuff we like, stuff we don't like. I'm sure we have a ton of extra stories that we didn't even talk about here today. That you guys will be able to see there. So with that said, thank you for joining us for another episode. Just as we were shooting this episode, actually, in between breaks, we actually saw that we hit 206 subscribers on the YouTube channel, which actually, I know you guys are seeing this on the 2nd. It's the 1st now, so we're filming this a day before you guys see it. But as of the end of the year, December 31st, we had 205 subscribers on the channel, which was something that was double my goal for the year. I hope to have 100 people. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Yes,
We really appreciate it. So make sure you share it when you see videos. If you could share them to Facebook, Twitter, whatever you guys want to do. Make sure you comment, subscribe, hit the bell, because now that we're bringing you guys a lot more content, every time we drop something, it'll give you a notification, so that way you see it, when we drop it.
Yeah.
So
I just want to say thank you for giving us a reason to hang out.
Yes.
I was thinking about that as you were saying that, is the fact of like, if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't be dedicated to doing this kind of stuff as much as I think we are at the level that we are now.
Right.
And I think that's all positive. Everything that comes from this has all been really great things, and very thankful for that.
Absolutely.
So, thank you guys, and thank you guys.
And I get to come out from behind the camera more often.
Yeah. We will see you guys the first Saturday in February, the second Saturday in February, and the third Saturday in February. But that first 585 cinema video is going to be out next Saturday. So make sure you click that bell, or at least tune in at 10 o'clock Saturday morning for that. So we will see you guys next time. Start off with that. This time on 585 Garage, you gotta look that way. I know you're not used to being on this. I know you're not used to being on this side of the camera.
But now we're like,
Oh.
like Steve and I were like, oh, we're doing it. All right.
Questions. And you can watch that now. See, cameraman, he doesn't know. So,
All right.
so,
You want me to? So you got your blooper clip?
no, it's fine. I'll just edit the whole thing.
All right.
The sketchiest part about that episode was, it was in the middle of the night. I don't even know where we were, but you were like almost falling asleep at the wheel of the truck, and you had asked me to take over, and so
Yeah.
I did. And you know, his Ram's kind of hunkered down. It's kind of a street truck, not really meant to be a tow pig, but it does the
Not at
job.
all.
And and so we're driving, and I hit a pothole, and we had just installed like the most rinky-dink toolbox in the back of the truck, and I hit a bump, and it's one of those toolboxes where instead of folding up, it folds like open, like a gull wing door. And so I'm driving along, I look in the rearview mirror, and I see that the toolbox is open. So I'm like, oh, I'll just, you know, pull over. He's passed out in the passenger seat, and so I pull over as best as I could without driving the truck like off the shoulder of the road. And so I'm back there, I'm like trying to slam it, and it didn't want to slam because the thing moved, and it was like a nightmare. But I hear a semi-truck, and I look up to my right, and there's two of them side by side, and it's a 2-lane expressway. But the one was over a little bit, and half the truck was over the white line where I was. And it got to 100 yards, 50 yards, 25 yards, and this guy is still over the line, and then at the last second, he pulls the truck over and whizzes by me enough to like, it felt like it, when the truck went by, it like sucked me into the road. I mean, if he was maybe 3 feet from the Ram, that was a lot, and it scared the shit out of me. And so that was like,
remember that.
that was, and it woke you up because it shook
Yeah,
the truck.
It shook the whole thing. I like felt the whole air of it. It was sketchy as all.
I think that was like the sketchiest moment for me on any episode. That was like easily closest to death I've ever been.
Glad you only had one.
Like, we don't have numerous ones.